Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to discuss one new topic we are taking here, that is a play Where There Is a Will by Mahesh Dattani. This the Where There Is a Will is a satirical play, the sarcasm of Indian family, right? That delves into the complexities of patriarchal Indian family and the yearning for individual freedom and identity. And then we all have quest to have own identity and freedom. So same is depicted here within its confines, but everyone has its own limitations. So within limits it is depicted. The play, often described as an exorcism of patriarchal code, so that's a magic of patriarchal code, highlights issues like generational gap, disrespect for women, which is very common in Indian society, domestic unhappiness, avarice, money, too much money. So that is also yearning for good amount, and extramarital relationship, which is once upon a time it was written, but still this is very common nowadays. So now the play revolves around the Mehta family. So you just imagine that Mehta family, Hasmukh Mehta, headed by the authoritarian patriarch, very authoritative character, Hasmukh Mehta. He is the head of the family. A wealthy Gujarati business tycoon, well-off family. Hasmukh is depicted as a controlling and tyrannical figure, right? Dictator kind of character who micromanages every aspect of his family member's life, and he interferes everyone's life, right? Family member's life, from his wife's mundane activities to his son's career aspiration. So that's a little decisions wife is not able to take, because Hasmukh interferes his wife's small decisions, and even in son's career aspiration he will decide something like this. He believes his words is law. So he believes that whatever he has spoken, which is kind of law, by default one has to follow, expects absolute obedience, and he expects that should be obeyed at any cost. The drama begins with Hasmukh's sudden death, and that's a very unusual, unfortunate that then drama begins, which was Hasmukh's sudden death. That's a symbol that it symbolizes that after death, then whatever we do in our life, that's uh, all possible when we are alive. So we dictate, we uh, um, like what we can exaggerate, but then after death everything is changed. But here, however, his controlling nature extends even beyond the grave. So that how it is possible that he is controlling after death, that is, he leaves behind an unconventional will. So he writes a will in which is very unconventional, and that continues to dictate the lives of his family, where he dictated uh, uh, dictated and he talked about his family, each and every family members, to everyone's shock and dismay. So as they read the will, family members read the will, they are very much shocked and disappointed. The will bypasses his wife Sonal and son Ajit. Why? Because very surprisingly, uh, in will he bypasses his wife Sonal and son Ajit, leaving his entire property to a Hasmukh Mehta charitable trust. So he gives entire property to trust, Hasmukh Mehta charitable trust. Name is this trust. The family members are only entitled to a regular allowance from this trust, which ceases when Ajit turns 45. and family members are only entitled to a regular allowance. So they will be given regular allowance from the trust. Except this, nothing can be given to them, and that will be given when Ajit will be 45. The most proactive clause in the will is appointment of Kiran Zaveri. So this is something very unusual. When Kiran Zaveri, Hasmukh's former mistress and marketing executive, as the caretaker of Mehta family, she is appointed according to will. So she will be the caretaker of Mehta family and the administrator of the trust, and then she is caretaker and administrator of the trust. This creates immense tension and discomfort, of course, within the household, especially for Sonal and Preeti, Ajit's wife, who resent uh, Kiran's presence, and they made Kiran's presence made them annoyed, right? So who is in this family? That's a Hasmukh Mehta, Hasmukh Mehta plus Sonal. That's a husband and that's a wife, and they have children. That's a Ajit and Ajit's wife Preeti, and Kiran, right? Kiran Zaveri, she is mistress and now she is caretaker, right, of the family. So then, as the play unfolds, Hasmukh's ghost, as unseen presence or character who speaks Hasmukh's thoughts from a separate space on stage when play starts. So we see that from one corner on the stage that he speaks because he is a dead soul influencing the living characters, but he influences living characters, continues to observe and comment on the family's actions, and then he controls family's action, revealing his manipulative thought process and his inability to trust his own family, which reveals his manipulative thought process and his inability to trust his own family, and then he distrusts his family members. Through his posthumous control, Dattani exposes the toxic effects of unchecked patriarchy, and this is unfortunately very toxic effect of unchecked patriarchy, and how it is stifles individual growth and happiness. So that is stifle growth and happiness of the family members. The play also explores the reactions of family members to Hasmukh's will. Of course, family members react against Hasmukh's will. Sonal initially submissive. As a wife, she is in the beginning she is submissive, gradually finds her voice and assertiveness, and then later finds her voice and assertiveness. Ajit, on the other hand, who was constantly stifled by his father, begins to strive for his own path and independence. Now he wants to be free from father's dictatorship. Preeti, Ajit's wife, who initially seems obedient as a daughter in law, harbors her own desires for freedom and challenges the family's norms, and then finally she is also somewhat against the will. Kiran, a caretaker, though initially seen as an intruder, eventually becomes a central figure who inadvertently or otherwise helps the family confront their past and present. So then somewhat she becomes the part of the family. Ultimately, where there is a will is a commentary on how individuals struggle to break free from the shackles of oppressive family structure and societal expectation, patriarchy in a particular patriarchal setup. So that is somewhat uh, in a dominating patriarchal families how members feel oppressive, and because of tight structure and societal expectations, which is shown here in this novel. It champions the idea of female empowerment and the need for individuals to assert their own identities and desires. And it talks about idea of family female empowerment and the need for individuals to assert their own identities and desires even against the wishes of a dominating patriarch. They have to do some time because of dominating patriarchal system. The play uses humor and irony to shed light on these serious social issues, though it's very serious issues. But then this is Mahesh Dattani's quality and then caliber. So in this serious issue, he has created harmony, humor and irony in the play. So that is something about plot. Characters we have already discussed. Hasmukh, the domineer patriarch of the Mehta family, is a wealthy business tycoon, authoritarian and manipulative, and deeply rooted in the patriarchal beliefs. Even after his death, his presence and influence are felt through his meticulously crafted will, which continues to control his family. He represents the oppressive force of traditional Indian patriarchy. Sonal Mehta, Hasmukh's wife, initially portrayed as a submissive and traditional Indian wife, she is constantly belittled and controlled by Hasmukh. So that happens in Indian society. As the play progresses and Hasmukh's will is revealed, she gradually finds her voice and asserts her independence. Finally, she becomes independent individual, eventually developing a different kind of relationship with Kiran, and then she develops different kind of relationship with Kiran. Ajit Mehta, Hasmukh and Sonal's son, is depicted as someone who has always lived under his father's shadow, constantly criticized and deemed unfit for business, and he loses his confidence because of father's remarks, always negative remarks, and he yearns for independence and struggles to establish his own identity. That's a very um, common in dominating societies, separate from his father's expectations and control. Preeti Mehta, Jeet's wife and Hasmukh's daughter-in-law, she also experiences the stifling atmosphere of Mehta household, and while initially appearing obedient, she harbors her own dreams and desires and actively challenges the patriarchal norms patriarchally after the will is revealed. She represents the modern Indian woman who desires agency and freedom. Kiran Zaveri, Hasmukh's former mistress and marketing executive, she is appointed as the administrator of Hasmukh's trust and caretaker of the family through his will. Her presence initially creates tension and animosity, but she ultimately plays a pivotal role in the family's dynamic shift, sometimes acting as a catalyst for change and understanding. So finally, she proved good to Hasmukh family. She is confident and pragmatic, and Kiran Zaveri is a confident and pragmatic lady, and she helps Mehta family. Now, Meenal, that's an invisible character, Sonal's sister, though she never appears on stage, her presence is felt through Sonal's conversations, offering a glimpse into Sonal's past and internal thoughts. Maharaj, invisible character, the family cook, like Meenal, he is not seen but his presence is acknowledged through dialogue, adding to the domestic setting of the play. So that is something about Mehta family, Hasmukh Mehta and Sonal Mehta, husband wife, and then they have a son Ajit Mehta, and Ajit's wife Preeti Mehta, and two characters Meenal and Maharaj. Meenal is Sonal's sister and Maharaj is the cook, and these are the characters we find. And as play opens, then Hasmukh Mehta recently died, but his will, he writes in a will that is very unexpected, because he uh, uh, he is very big um, patriarchal character, and he deeply believe in patriarchy, and that's why he tries to operate everything in family members. He dictates family members, and even after that his will is very much complicated. But finally he appoints Kiran as caretaker. She is unexpectedly, she proves good to Mehta family, and finally it's happy ending. Everyone, because Ajit uh, feels suffocating after reading this will, and then even when Hasmukh is alive, then he is uh, always not tortured, but yeah, he's always um, pointed out by Hasmukh, negatively pointed out, and this way he loses his confidence, but finally he regains his confidence. Even Sonal, Hasmukh's wife, is very much submissive, but later she raises her voice and she finds her identity, and this way happy ending is there. And this is the overview of Where There Is a Will. However, title says that where there is a will, there is a way. But then here will is, that's a noun form, where will is written uh, by uh, by Mahesh Dattani. It's a very interesting title. So that is something about the play. Thank you.